All right, Jason Coyle is with me here on the podcast, the president of Chicago Sports Network. Thanks for being here on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here. It's a privilege to represent the team here, the teams, and it's also a responsibility to be accountable. Mm-hmm. You asked me to come on, I can say yes or no. I'm a yes. I'm accountable to our teams, to our ownership, and most importantly to the fans. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast is a bridge between the teams and the fans. And I know fans are like many of them who cannot watch the games yet are really upset. So I saw you in the office and I said, hey, will you come on the podcast and just answer questions from fans? And you said, whatever they got. And here we are.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I haven't really had an opportunity to answer chapter and verse from the fans. And I hear them individually and I talk with them on the phone. I see them on the streets. This is a great opportunity. And I'm going to be honest. We're going to ask the questions just as they were asked. Mm-hmm. I'm going to answer them with honesty and transparency. But it also gives me an opportunity to share why we are excited, why we did this in the first place, where we are with the business, how it's going to roll out, and why we're so excited about it.
All right. So I went on Twitter, X, and I said, hey, whatever questions you've got for Jason Coyle, president of CHSN, bring it on, whatever's on your mind. There were some of these I'm like, you know what? You're not going to answer this one. And then you're like, no, I want to answer that one.
I'll answer every question.
There's a few of these that you're like, most presidents of companies do not want to have these publicly asked to them, and you are all game for this, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay, so you want to begin?
Let's go.
We have a lot we're going to get to. We'll begin with JFab, who asks, why were you so woefully ill-prepared for the launch? That was the first question out of the gate that you wanted to be asked, and here we go.
I'll answer every question in whatever order, but starting at the start, I think makes sense. And we were prepared, but the timeline was very, very condensed, and I'll answer exactly why. It's because no one wanted the NBC sports run to end. Mm-hmm. Ownership had a great relationship for 20 years with Comcast. It's a legendary operation. I have full respect. I was a fan of it myself. No one wanted it to end. So the conversations went and went and went, and there was never a screaming situation or necessarily a walk away, but it was just time to act. We got to April, May, we had to go. We were on the air October 1st. So you are seeing a condensed timeline, and you're seeing just phase one of a multi-step rollout. But we were prepared and ready to go.
You were prepared for plan B just in case NBC did not strike a deal with the teams?
Yeah, we had to be. Yeah. And it wasn't just about how do we get on the air, but how do we build a business that understands why this deal isn't getting done and really regrounds in the Chicago sports fan, that pays attention to what's been going on in media these past 20 years and what will be happening in the next 5 years. But by the way, is a great television vehicle. We hit air on October 1st, 5 p.m. Central, exactly on time. We started with no logo, no name, no HR, no staff, no graphics, no set. Our team was amazing. And so I would absolutely push back that we were not prepared. We delivered, we hit air. We've had some surprises along the way that we will talk about, but we're only seeing step one of a rollout. And I think the plan will show itself as we talk.
Yeah, I mean, being on the inside at NBC, we were feeling like there was going to be an extension, maybe for a year, but we didn't know for sure. And all of a sudden, it's just as time went on, it seemed like NBC just wanted to turn the page. They didn't want to be in the business anymore. And that's essentially why you're here and why I'm here. Would you agree?
I do agree. Mm-hmm. We had a very successful, happy partnership. Mm-hmm. There were no disagreements over the course of 20 years. Mm-hmm. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And only good feelings, only respect. But it became very clear as it was time to let's do a 5-year deal. There's no business model that prevails for 5 years on the trajectory where NBC Sports Chicago was headed. It had nothing to do with that staff, that team, that operation. It had everything to do with everything else. The RSNs have existed for 40 years. They stopped working. It wasn't working for fans. It was not working for the networks themselves. It wasn't working for sponsors, and it wasn't working for distribution partners. Everything had to be reset and revisited. And the world started 40 years ago for these when there were 110 million cable households, and everyone got paid. The fans paid the television companies paid the network, and there was enough to go around for everybody. And it was working just fine. But as costs continued to rise, as alternative ways to watch television emerged, that 110 million universe as an audience went to 50. And it's dropping like a stone. We know that. We do not want to accelerate that, but we have to reset the business model. We have to make sure that fans can watch. I understand that we're going to be talking about that.
Yes.
Here as we go. But the premise is we have to expand our reach. We have to get out of a declining cable-only model where fans are paying more and more and more, and fewer are able to either watch on those platforms or care to watch. So we really invested in a lot of ways in a business model that we think is not designed to just extend what was left of the RSN. It's to reset. It's an opportunity, a special one. It's also mandatory.
So here's a question from Ted Gruber. He asks, why was the business model just thrown together and not planned out, knowing that they weren't going with NBC Sports Chicago?
I know why it looks like that. Mm-hmm. I've said this before, maybe not in this environment. If I'm anything, I'm a sports fan, kind of an angry one myself. I get it. I grew up in a sports
You're
family.
a White Sox fan, too.
Oh, I'm a significant White Sox fan. I am very leaned in. Yes, I care a lot. This business model has been planned for months and months and months. And it's been clear for years and years and years that the day would come when it had to be reset. We were on a condensed timeline. We are still rolling the business out, so I understand why it looks like there's not intentions in a model.
You normally need a year, 18 months?
A year would be great.
A year would be great.
Yes.
You guys had how much time, essentially, to put this on the air?
Well, really,
and do all the distribution deals, which are still obviously ongoing.
Really, it was late April, May when we started, and it was time to go. We had to go do all the OTA distribution deals. We had to reach out to the Comcast, the Hulus of the world, DirecTV, Fubo. We'll get into all that. Yeah. But really, we had to put together an operation in very short order. And so,
frankly, I didn't think it was possible. I was talking to people who were on the inside, who were trying to get you guys on the air October 1st. And in July, people were like, I don't know if we're going to be able to be ready by October 1st. This was not an easy thing to do in that short period of time.
We're ready because we have a very special team. Mm-hmm. They're amazing. And not only were we ready, the product looks terrific. The graphics look great. The programming's fantastic. The set is special, and we'll talk about kind of the utility on top of that as we go. But the business model is crucial. We had to expand the reach, make sure that there is access for everybody, and that includes those fans watching outside of cable, so free-to-air television. I know we'll talk about antennas, but there's a reason. We're not trying to incentivize people to cut the cord and buy an antenna. I know myself, it's not a replacement. It's not necessarily always an enjoyable experience. You fumble around with it, you can't pause, you can't rewind, but there are 600,000 households in Chicago who are out of cable and they're never coming back. They watch from an antenna. Over 20% of the United States is watching free-to-air and in HD. And so we had to make that available. First, address fans, especially in some of our disenfranchised neighborhoods who have not had access to our teams and our content. So we had to start there. We have to be available on traditional satellite, on cable, on streaming, and we have to introduce a direct-to-consumer. We have to make it available to fans where they want to watch, how they want to watch, and at the price point that is right for them. We understand that. So that's part one of the model. We'll get to that, but the entire operation has to be regrounded in reaching more fans. We had just been losing viewers quarter after quarter. It's not sustainable. And we have to enable anyone who wants to watch to watch. Once we get them, it's got to be special. We have to create experiences for them. And we've invested into that. We've invested into a significantly enhanced media operation where we have an experiential outfit who we brought in from outside to start creating live event experiences, both in the studio and those that we could take around the city and throughout our territory. We've also invested in an expert in interactive mobile second screen companion experiences that combined will really take what has been a one-way broadcast to an anonymous set of isolated viewers and create social experiences, create interactivity, create opportunities to come on set, to meet you, to get your autograph. I'll get that later.
Yeah.
To meet Ozzie and all of our talent. Yeah. And then what people haven't been able to see yet is our commitment to the fans, to introducing a rewards ecosystem. Thank you for watching. The more you watch, and if you share your email address with us, a phone number, so that we can know who's watching and engage you, that's the key to stabilizing this business model, creating a one-to-one relationship. It's better programming. We can see what works and what doesn't. We can understand who's watching. We can engage them, allow them to ask questions into a broadcast, onto the set, appear on the set, win prizes. And
so the more they watch and engage with the network, the more they'll get back in return?
They will. Yeah. Actual prizing. And that'll be rolling out as the app rolls out in phases in the next couple of months. But really giving back to the fans and thanking them for being a part of our network and our business.
Okay, we have so many questions, and we're already 10 minutes in.
Okay,
this might be a 3-hour podcast. But you know what, here's this question. And I said, do you really want to hear this question from a fan? And you said, yeah. This is from Hudge. The question was your intention to ruin Chicago sports for these teams? You wanted this question.
I wanted the hardest questions.
Yeah.
And that comes, even though they're all asked with an edge, they're intelligent questions. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't you think that if you were a Comcast viewer and one day we were on and the next day we were gone?
Yeah.
I'd ask that, and I wouldn't be happy about it either. But this does start to show what we're doing, why it's so different. Everything is about Chicago fans, and it's about making us available. It's about even putting the name Chicago first in our network. 40 years of those regional sports networks, never has the name of a city come first. And why is that? It's because it's multi-region operators setting the same content across different regions with the same sets and the same graphics. This is an opportunity for us to show the fans of Chicago, this network is for you. All day long, we start with Mully and Haw, we go to college football, NFL, and our own sports center just for Chicago. So it starts there. We market as a citizen of Chicago. We live in the neighborhoods. We celebrate the business community. We put small businesses who have probably never been on air. We provide them production and free airtime to advance their businesses. West Side, South Side, every side. We think it's just cool. Bring Chicago inside of this network. Show our fans that we are here, tailor-made and only for them, and everything will go from there.
All right, let's get to some of the nitty-gritty here. This is Pop who asks, can we ask why they didn't negotiate deals with the biggest providers, YouTube, Xfinity, et cetera, prior to feeling the need to launch their own platform inaccessible by anyone who doesn't own an antenna, or why they expect us to pay another fee to watch only their teams?
Multi-part. So we started late. Mm-hmm. These deals do take months, and circumstances have changed since the last set of 5-year deals have taken place, specifically with Hulu and YouTube TV, which we'll talk about. But we were engaged at the outset. And in fact, not only have we completed 13 OTA deals, we've also gotten 13 paid television deals with DirecTV, with Fubo, with RCN, Astound. We were very much engaged from the start. We'd been engaged with Comcast for 20 years. Mm-hmm. We didn't stop talking. We felt very good about our offering to them and our understanding of where their business was headed, as well as their margins get compressed. We immediately made outreach to all of those platforms where our fans were watching. We wanted to stay on. We started with a deep discount as our opening offer. We're willing to take significantly less money to maintain that access, make sure fans don't lose the opportunity to watch us. We need someone on the other side of the table to respond to us and to eventually say yes to something.
So they haven't responded to your offer?
And you're talking about all three?
Xfinity.
Okay, Xfinity. No. So we understand that Xfinity's business wants to move sports networks to a tier. We understand that. Our values are to maintain access and to make sure prices don't go up. So we've made an offer to stay on the basic tier, but we also live in this world. We understand what's happening. We know how they're running their businesses. We've made 3 offers across various different packaging. We did not get an offer in return on opening day. And here we sit as the weeks go by. We are in a very responsible position with a deep discount and just waiting for someone on the other side of the table to give us something to say yes to.
So Dan says, I'm curious on how an RSN thinks strategically about base tier versus premier sports tier on carriage deals, balancing distribution scale versus distribution profitability. You're trying to get big reach. You're trying to make some money, too, because it's a business and they want to make money, too. So how do you balance those?
We have to make sure that fans can watch.
Yeah.
The business model follows from that. Upfront money is of secondary concern. It does matter, but we are not trying to raise prices on our distribution partners. We're not even trying to stay flat. We are living in this world, and we are incentivizing them to make us available to as many of their customers as possible.
Right. So you're waiting for this counter offer from Xfinity. Could you just say, hey, what's it going to take? We got to get on the air with Xfinity because it's how many millions of people, or what's the reach with Xfinity in the Chicagoland area?
Well, it's in the upper 900,000s, a million. We want to be there. Yeah. We need to be there. We expect to be there. We're surprised we're not. So what does it take? I don't know. We're not getting a back and forth dialogue that you would expect, even if we had not met each other, let alone having gone through 20 years of partnership. We have to understand Comcast in Chicago, that operation and those sets of relationships are different than the people who are negotiating this deal in Philadelphia. The first breadcrumb that they gave us as to what might be their rationale appeared in the Chicago Tribune a couple of weeks ago. Didn't say it to us, that they are reluctant to pay for something that we're giving away for free, as they put it. That is very standard in the paid ecosystem. When you're watching an NFL game on your broadcast channels, those are free to air. You can watch those with an antenna, 2, 5, 7, 32. And the Comcast of the world, the DirecTV of the world, they pay for those, even though you can get them for free. So, yeah, we don't see that as a primary reason. We've engaged with 13 different paid providers, all who know that we're available for free. Right. We've reached terms with all of them, except Comcast.
There's people wondering when. When will there be a deal struck? But you can't probably answer that. Or could you give me an idea of what you guys are thinking for there to be a deal made sometime in the future or near future?
We need to be on there. I'm surprised that we're sitting here as regular season games are rolling out and rolling on and fans are upset. Yes, they're upset at us. But we don't know the rationale. And I don't want to speculate why they are not interested in making the Chicago Sports Network and these teams and these games available to their customers. They haven't told us what the economic opportunity would be or the terms under which they would want to transact. So I can't tell you when. I thought we'd be on opening day. I'm stunned that we weren't, just from common sense, our flexibility, and certainly the history.
All right, so Charlie B asks, is there any chance you guys are going to be carried on YouTube TV?
I love YouTube TV. I was a subscriber. Hulu TV is as well. This is an example of the business having shifted since NBC Sports Chicago 5 years ago signed deals with those two. We have great relationships. We immediately reached out to them when we when it was clear that we were going to go forward as a business, we offered as a starting position a discount, and we haven't heard back from them. The relationship is good. Their business model has just changed. Through COVID, through the Fox Sports Chicago, or not Fox Sports Chicago, but the Fox regionals that then became the Valley Sports regionals, now the FanDuel regionals, as they went out of business, Hulu and YouTube TV just sat it out and weighed the impact on their business. Google and Disney have decided they are not doing regional sports deals. It has nothing to do with Chicago. If you look it up, easily accessible online, you'll see what their regional network carriage is. They're not invested there.
We got a lot of questions about Hulu, but about Hulu and YouTube TV. So it sounds like Hulu and YouTube TV are out of the regional sports network games, and anyone who's been relying on YouTube or Hulu to watch the Bulls, the White Sox, and the Blackhawks, if they want to continue to do that, they're going to have to go elsewhere to do that.
Well, Fubo is available, and a great partner, DirecTV Stream. It's just as easy as the other two, where you turn off month-to-month billing, you download an app, you sign in, and you're watching the games. It's just that simple. Cancel at any time. We also have a direct-to-consumer offering coming out imminently.
Yes, can I ask you about that?
Yes, that will give those YouTube TV customers an opportunity to maintain YouTube TV and to watch the network.
All right, so this is a question from Joe Dennis. He asks, will CHSN's programming be available to out-of-market people like through an online service? I guess that's an app, and that would be for people who are in market and out of market.
Regional sport, we can only operate in market.
Okay.
We have territories.
Oh, the app, you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, the app follows the same rules as a Comcast deal and a DirecTV deal. But that said, we have expanded at significant cost to the business to a 5-state territory. Again, to make our product as available as possible. We're covering all of Iowa. We're covering all of downstate Illinois. We're in Indianapolis for 2 of our teams. Each of the teams has a different geographical footprint. Bulls are able to be viewed in Grand Rapids, Blackhawks in Milwaukee, but due to competitive teams with the other sports in those markets, they can't. But we're at the maximum geographical reach we could go, but we can't go outside of the market.
But if you live, say, in Florida and you want to watch the White Sox, say, once the season begins, you can get the MLB package and be able to watch that way, right?
That's right.
So that would have nothing to do with that.
Right.
Let's see. Jason Shiner asks, the NBC Sports app let you log in with your cable provider and watch games for free. Will CHSN's app have a similar feature?
Yes, it will. Mm-hmm. And everything is, again, the condensed timeline. A really good app takes months and months and months to build. We've been measuring it, not rushing it to market, because we're not trying to get people to cut the cord. Mm-hmm. We don't want to compete against Comcast or our partners at DirecTV and the like. But this is coming out ready to go, and I think people are really going to be impressed with what they're about to see.
When do you think it'll be available?
Imminent.
Imminent. The app is imminent.
It's imminent, and you'll see it roll out in phases. First, it's excellent. Mm-hmm. Nothing that we do is halfway. When we went free to air, it's not just HD, it's the highest quality of HD. When we roll out this app, we recruited the person who ran Facebook Sports worldwide for 10 years and really understands social, understands product, community. You're going to see a really special product. Vertical video, social tools, very familiar to the Instagram crowd, TikTok. And when it's time to watch the game, it's a good old-fashioned, beautiful presentation. And yes, on DirecTV and the other cable subscribers, in the weeks ahead, you'll be able to authenticate and watch.
Okay, Adam Newman asks, if there is an app, would it be on Roku?
Yes.
Okay. Adam also asks,
and I'll just, we'll start with iOS and Android.
Okay.
We'll move to Apple TV. Roku will be shortly after that. Roku's important. And yes, we will be there.
Okay. Adam also asks, from what I understand, we're probably getting a paid subscription app. What I don't quite get is why that would cost, but why there's a cost, but it's also free over the air. Explain the economics to me.
That's a great, these are good. These are legitimately good questions. Yeah. Free over the air has a history and tradition and operational understanding with everyone involved, from the Comcast of the world, the DirecTVs of the world. You could watch Channel 2, 5, 7 again, but those operators have to pay for it in order to package it, price it, upsell it to their fans, and make it available. That doesn't apply to streaming. And so if you were to make an app available for free, then you would undermine everything else that we're doing with our paid partners. And we don't want to do that. We do not want to undermine their business. We want to be partners.
Okay, let's get to the antenna, because this was, it's funny to say, revolutionary by going back 50 years and watching this network, if you want, on an antenna. I have Xfinity in my house, can't watch the network. So what did I do? I went to Ace Hardware and I bought an RCA antenna for about $30. I am one of the lucky ones, I guess, because I put it in or plugged it in, whatever. It took all of 5 minutes, and I'm getting picture perfect quality. I'm getting the network at my home in the city. But you hear examples all across the board of it works perfectly like me. Then you have people who it's not working at all, doesn't work in this part of the house. It only works at night, or if it rains, there's a problem. So what's your take on the antenna situation out there?
First, broadcast is time honored as a distribution vehicle. It's not antiquated though. It's growing fast. Digital antennas are no longer the rabbit ears. They're very small. They're flat. They're easy to install. They're easy to uninstall.
It looks like, I was surprised to see this because I haven't been in this market at all. It looks like a mouse pad, a computer mouse pad. That's what you're literally putting on near your TV.
Right. But they could be wonky and frustrating. Yeah. They're not a replacement for cable.
Yeah.
We're not marketing go buy antennas. We're not. We're serving those people who already watch. 600,000 households who are watching in HD with a great stream and a great signal.
Yeah. I want to say this, Xfinity, by the way, if you're listening, Xfinity, Comcast, if you guys strike a deal, I will no longer use the antenna. I'm sticking it out. I want to stay with Xfinity.
That's our expectation.
Yes,
it's not. It's not.
I'm only doing the antenna because I have no other choice. That's the only way I can watch it. Not the only way, but the easiest way for me to get them right now.
I have an antenna. I had 3 antennas at home for 3 TVs. Different antennas work in different ways. Mm-hmm. You do have to play around with them. When you eventually get them to work just right, it's a beautiful picture. Mm-hmm. But you can't pause. You can't rewind.
Yes.
It's not a replacement.
Correct.
For those paid distributors, we are not trying to incentivize people to leave them. That is not in our interest. We do not want to undermine our paid providers where our fans want to watch. So this was never meant as a replacement. This was meant as a way to serve those fans who have left cable, left pay, and are watching that way. And that is a fast-growing segment. 110 million cable homes have shrunk. Broadcast homes are growing fast. And I will tell you, broadcast technology, we're not even going to get into it here, but it is advancing quickly. It is a significant technology, even though it feels familiar and is time tested.
I was impressed by the quality. It's actually, is it better quality than cable, the video? You don't want to go there?
Again, we're not trying to argue. I know there's a question about 4K.
Yeah.
We are investing to make sure that our premium subscribers have a premium experience.
Yeah.
And that means a significant enhancement in terms of functionality, great picture quality. Broadcast is very special. It's not compressed. In its natural state, you have a beautiful, crisp, clean signal. And it's surprising if you haven't seen it.
My point is, I was pleasantly surprised when I plugged this in. I'm like, whoa, look at the quality of this picture. I'm using an antenna. So here's Rosie88 who asks, how far is the signal strength if he wants to use an antenna? Because antennas I've tried do not find the channel in the northwest suburbs. He's in Roselle.
Yeah. It should reach. We are full power channel. The stick is at the top of the Sears Tower. I know it's not the Sears Tower anymore.
Willis, I think.
But we're Chicago.
Yes, it's Sears Tower. Sears Tower.
That is the big booming stick. Yeah. It is full power station. It's in a higher resolution than even the 720p from Channel 7 and 32. And it has the same reach and power of those 2 stations. It's full.
Okay. Then Dan Archer asks, why do a lot of people just get audio? When is the fix coming there?
This was an unintended consequence. Mm-hmm. We committed when we decided to make this available, these games, our network, our teams available to these fans who have been outside of the cable bundle. Again, perhaps can't afford it, been priced out, maybe just choosing. Everything that we do has to be top quality. So we have two channels. One's in 720. I'm not trying to get technical. That's the same standard as WLS and FLD.
Yeah.
But then we invested in 1080i for the best picture quality you could possibly have. Some of the older sets can't receive that level of signal. So we're working with our partner there to try to rectify it. My main TV at home, my nice TV, is too old.
It's too old.
So
okay.
I had the same issue immediately. My other two TVs come in perfectly. So we're working with our partners at 62.2 and 3 to make those adjustments here in the weeks ahead.
All right, here's a question from Christopher Gill, who loves the antenna, by the way. He says, everyone's going to hate, but this was the single greatest thing Jerry Reinsdorf has done for Chicago sports. Could it have been smoother? Yes. I have no doubt the kinks will iron out, but free local sports is a huge deal, especially with inflation. He said revolutionary. So that's not a question. It's more of a compliment to, for someone like himself, he's like, hey, inflation, prices are up. I can get this channel for free.
I get a lot of people thanking me. I get a lot of people yelling at me. Walking my dog the other night, someone I never met in my neighborhood, Comcast.
Yeah, one of the questions, by the way, that I haven't gotten to is how do you sleep at night?
Yeah, well, I get a lot of thank yous from people who haven't been able to afford it.
Yeah.
Some of the people who work in this facility, who are just the greatest people in the world, haven't been able to watch the Bulls for years.
Yeah.
And they have thanked me, and we don't want to take that away from them. They should have the same right and access as everybody else. Sleeping at night is interesting. You
have a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I heard Lou Holtz a long time ago before a famous game at Florida State where they had Charlie Ward and a great offense. They were asked about defending it. How does he sleep at night? And he said he sleeps like a baby, wakes up every 2 hours crying. It weighs on me. It has. I have a responsibility to our people who work here, to our ownership, to the fans, to build something really special. And we're early in the rollout, but it feels late because here we are with regular season games. So I'm excited because we have so much more to do. That part keeps me up as well. There's so much work to do, but it weighs on me. We have to deliver this to the fans and make sure that they can watch it.
All right, Chuck Hayes asks, why isn't the Cedar Rapids OTA live, even though the CHSN website says otherwise?
It should be live. I believe that it is live.
Okay.
In fact, it is live. If he would DM our account, we will we'll help make sure that the scan is correct. We'll make sure that they can watch.
Okay. This is an interesting question. This is from Mike. He asks, when you were president at Stadium, that was your previous job, you had an inside look at how Sinclair and Diamond were running. What did you take from what's going on over there to change the model at CHSN? This is a little like in the weeds of the business, and I'm not sure all of our listeners or viewers know about what's going on with Sinclair, Diamond especially, but can you maybe explain from your perspective what you saw and what you're trying to do here that's going to be different?
Well, Stadium's 24-hour network delivered free streaming nationally with some great partners and terrific content, great talent, a great team there as well. So we had sold the business to Sinclair as they were purchasing the formerly Fox Sports Net regionals, then Bally's, now FanDuel. And we were coming together to provide the national programming, to bring a digital aspect to it, and to really drive the brand and reach those users and viewers who had fallen outside of cable and outside of the traditional RSNs. What we saw was a lot of really great people doing their best to preserve an antiquated model. It was run nationally. Every region got the same set, got the same graphics package. It makes sense, but they also got the same programming. So what happened was really it just became a pipe for the games. And that meant the only way to monetize, the only time to watch, and the valuation for the distributors were the price of those games. And the upward pricing that had to continue, it just broke and they lost distribution. But they really never drove tune-in because it didn't matter whether people were watching. They had a commitment to quality, and I really respect those people over there. They're some top of the industry people, but they were working inside of a cage. There was really no way out. And again, it was this multi-state, not local, not special to a Chicago or their regions, and it was just kind of a fungible asset that they were trying to monetize with the old-fashioned 40-year-old model.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe one of the best ways to describe what's going on for everyone who's watching, listening, is that this business has been massively disrupted, right? Massively disrupted, and we're in a moment in time of trying to, it's almost like the business was a snow globe. You shake the snow globe and everything is just kind of going all over the place, and you're trying to find the right path to get to, I don't want to say the finish line, but get on the right path. And that's kind of where CHSN is trying to launch in the middle of this. Is that how you describe it?
It's broken.
Yeah.
All those businesses are in bankruptcy. They have been in bankruptcy. That complicated the Hulu and the YouTube TV and even the Comcast discussions, because what's going to happen with these double-digit RSNs all around the country? What type of deals are they going to try to do? But and again, this is 40 years old of a business model. There was no interactivity back then. There were no multi-platform. There wasn't really digital. There wasn't social. Fans weren't used to kind of interacting and engaging and commenting and really getting a special kind of person-to-person experience. And that's what we have to do. This just gives us permission and an opportunity, a special one, to build something better, but it's also mandatory. So again, that's why we're creating these experiences for our fans, not just making them available everywhere, but really creating something better, something that's specific to the market, something that brings those fans closer to the experience, that rewards them. And we think this is the model that's going to prevail, not just at the regional level, but everywhere. Why wouldn't it? Why do sports networks never thank our fans? You go down, you get on a flight, frequent flyer. Stay a night at a hotel, thank you. You go to your sub shop, hey, this is my 10th card. Here's your sub. We don't do that. We haven't historically. It's time to do that. It's time to reground in the fans, make sure not only that they can watch us at their price point and on their platform, but they understand we need them. We thank them. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a fan. Nothing works without them. So the opportunity is a special one that we're excited about, and that's why we've made these investments. That's why we're enduring the short-term pain as the Comcast of the world try to get their head around what we're doing, but what we have to do. And in the process, I think we're going to change the overall approach that rights holders and networks have to really reaching their audiences and engaging with them.
And what you're speaking of, this whole business model is in phases, and we're still looking at phase one here. So a lot of that stuff is still down the road, but in the meantime, you just got to get a little more carriage, and then it becomes a bigger thing.
Yeah, because the foundation is it still has to be great.
Yeah.
It still has to carry forward those production values of NBC Sports Chicago that made it so special, and the editorial rigor that you've always had, and we have to respect. So phase one, let's make sure the games are awesome. Now we think, bring some more excitement and entertainment value to them because we are partisan. We are not national. We are objective in terms of, hey, was that a goal? No. In bounds, out of bounds, but we are rooting for our teams. So you see big, blocky entertainment graphics, a lot of information. We want you to feel like you're in the United Center. We want you to understand that this is the Chicago Sports Network. We are rooting for our teams. We're going to call them like we see them. Yeah. You're going to say what you're going to say. Ozzie's going to say what is, and you have to. But I think beyond that, people will see the advancements that we're making, but also the commitment into just elevating to the extent that we can the traditional.
Another question from Mike. He said, Diamond announced that they're going to make individual games available to stream for $6.99 per game. What do you think of a game-by-game streaming package where you're like, you know what, I want to watch tonight's game, I'll pay, if it's $6.99, you pay it?
I like it. We want to give our fans choice. We want to give our fans access, again, at the price point. We want to make it available wherever they want to watch. And some of this pricing, the rules around direct-to-consumer and the pricing, again, we set contractually, but in partnership with the paid partners. So some of that is dictated by trying to get the right deal for the right distribution with those paid partners. But yeah, we want fans to have access on the terms that they want.
There's a question from Ken. He asks, how will your coverage be better than what was available on NBC Sports Chicago?
We're not going to be better than a legendary operation in terms. I would not just because you're
I'm here.
We have respect.
Yeah.
I love NBC Sports Chicago. I was very fortunate to know their initial GM, Jim Cornell Sr. I've been in their offices throughout the years as a fan, legend. We are trying to elevate everywhere that we can. We've been very consistent with the game production teams and studios because there's not a lot to improve on Stacey King and Adam. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And I was, come on. This is top of the industry stuff. We're not going to try to put our stamp on it just to be new or to say, oh, we're here too. But we're going to improve on it by bringing the fans inside, by creating those special experiences for them and giving them a content wheel all day long. Mully and Haas, 7 to 9 a.m., 6-7 to the score, to start our day.
Yeah.
That's live. That's Chicago. When you get to our regular lineup, college football show, great national level talent focused on the Big Ten and Notre Dame. Now USC, your alma mater in there.
Yes.
When we have an NFL show, okay, we'll talk about the NFL. We're talking about the North. We're talking about the Bears.
Yeah.
And then at 6 o'clock, we have a Sports Center First Take, but just for Chicago, where we're going to be talking about both sides of town in baseball, pro, college, and high school. And I think it's really our commitment to that Chicago primary experience. And then how we're going to improve it. I think it's just, again, extending it, taking some of our shows on the road, making sure that we're in all the neighborhoods, making sure that all 77 neighborhoods are represented in our content and that people can see when we bump to break in our graphics. You've heard me say it. It's a pet peeve of mine. When you're watching a Bears game or anything national and we're going to break, you're going to see Buckingham Fountain.
Yeah.
Here comes the bean.
Yeah.
Here comes the deep dish. You're not going to see that here.
I was surprised when you said that because you're not just, oh, I'm from Chicago. We got to show the obvious stuff. You want to show Pilsen. You want to show Uptown. Like we're not just, the casual Chicagoan. No, we are Chicagoans. We know exactly what's going on.
We love
in the
this
city.
place.
Yeah.
We do not fly over here.
Yeah.
And a lot of those
right.
multi-state brands fly right over.
Yeah.
And we don't. We live here. We have that expectation for that world-class media tradition that NBC Sports started, WGN and the like. But we have neighborhood values. And we live in the neighborhoods. When people watch, and everything is if you know, they know that our team here knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they can tell that we love this place. They're going to see the Paulina Meat Market. They're going to see Manny's. They're going to see B&B Candy. They're going to see Pearl's Place.
Yeah.
A lot of, and we think it's fun and great just to invest back into the entrepreneurs and the small businesses that are all over the city that kind of make the city great. So you're going to see it everywhere in our network, but not trying to improve upon something legendary like NBC.
Appreciate that. Jason Hunt asks, what other sports-related programs are going to be shown other than just the games and the nightly show? You kind of talked about it a little bit. And then he added this. You should have the White Sox podcast on TV if it is not already.
Let's go.
It's been on the air.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, we have a really exciting array of podcasts. Everything has to be multi-platform. We can't just be a linear network where if you miss something, man, it's gone forever. We have to design for fans who want to engage on TikTok, who want to engage with podcasts, audio only, and then watch it on air. So you'll see podcasts from each, representing each of the teams. Yeah. We've got a significant WNBA talent that we either just have announced or will be announcing later in the week. We want real Chicago voices, and certainly yours is one.
Okay. A couple more. Matt N says, my only comment or question is really about keeping it the way it is. I love the way, this is talking, I guess, directed at me. I love the way that you and Ozzie connected with the fan base the last few years. You were real, Rather than being a mouthpiece, not saying you have been, the authenticity was appreciated, keep being authentic. So you welcome the authenticity that we show on the post-game shows. Even though I hate doing it, but when you lose 121 games, I got to call it like I see it.
If I meant what I said, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
We know we're not happy with that result.
Yeah.
No one's pretending otherwise. But what I will tell you is being able to see you when we take this studio that we have here and this wall behind us that is removable, and we can bring the fans of the United Center atrium onto the set and we move there. We're going to do the same thing at the ballpark.
Yeah.
So you're amazing. Not only are we going to continue that, you're going to be with a field view set. Fans, sponsors will be able to watch with you, pregame show, have an opportunity to take some pictures, get an autograph if you're in a good mood.
Oh my, good mood. Come on, that's every game. Come on. Well, I might not be in a good mood if they lose the night before, but I mean, are you kidding me? Bring the fans on. We'd love to see them.
Yeah. So not only are we continuing that, we're going to take as much of that as you're willing to share.
Here's the most important question you're going to get. It's from Debbie. Will Ozzie Guillen be back for pre and post game shows with Chuck?
Mandatory.
Mandatory. Gotta have it. Gotta happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's our intention. He's an absolute favorite, an absolute legend. I'm a fan, as I've mentioned, first, and you can't not have Ozzie.
Okay. Our last question. This is from Keaton Townsend. Will there be 4K Sox broadcasts available like there was sometimes with NBC Sports Chicago?
Yes, but many more.
Okay.
So again, as we're trying to create special experiences and value for our distribution partners, Xfinity, we'll have over 100 4K games. That's an investment, and that is a commitment from us to create a very special, differentiated experience for their customers. Absolutely. We will have over 100 games through the 3 teams throughout the course of the year, and I think that is the most in the country.
Okay. That's great to hear. Jason, thank you so much for coming here on the podcast and answering questions from the fans. I know this is not how you drew it up when you guys were starting this network, that you would begin the regular season in NBA and NHL and not be available everywhere, but I appreciate what you're trying to get done here and coming out here and answering all these questions.
Thank you. When you watch us and you see it, I hope you like it. I think you will. And we're just getting started.
Okay, awesome. That's a wrap for this edition of the White Sox Podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you, Jason Coyle. And we'll see you next time.